news on the block.
Get down.
Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm not gonna get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informants informant, that information forming. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jota, pop out like a cutter. Telling the quick rock, skipping the coach, squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots, ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I don't whip out and need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I don't whip out and need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me
Hey everybody, happy Thursday, happy Thursday, happy Thursday to you all. How are you guys doing today? I hope you are well. Happy May. It is May already, y'all. Are you ready? Because summer's going to be here in no time, and we are going to continue keeping this train moving and having a great season. So welcome to Thursday night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B, right here on your favorite station. Where's that? The Bravo with Sheila Network on YouTube. We appreciate your presence and your engagement on tonight. So as always, I would like to ask you to hit that thumbs up button and like, subscribe, and share, because we got some good news on tonight. That's right. Guess what, y'all? We are celebrating. We are in celebration mode as our greatest moderator, the best one to do it in these streets here, and Nate Kenya has put up that we have reached our 1K subscriber goal. Yes, come on, Bravo Nation. Thank you, Brave Brothers and our Bravettes. Thank you. We love and appreciate you. That simple touch of a button, again, it may not mean it does not do a lot for you. It's free 99, as we always say, but it means everything to us, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it. But we are not going to stop there. We have other goals to achieve, and we're going to keep on pressing forward. So again, we are happy on tonight. Congratulations to the amazing curator of this space. I call her my Auntie Bravo. You know her as Pastor Sheila Ingram. Excuse me. She is the queen bee over here at the Bravo with Sheila Network. Auntie, big bravo to you. You went first, but you did not go alone. It is such an amazing privilege to be a part of this team to help grow this network and this station, and the space and opportunity you give us to have great conversations with amazing people. And look what we can do when we work together and stick to it. All glory to God. Y'all know, while this is not a Christian network, I am a God's girl, so you're going to get a little Jesus every time you get me. Absolutely. And we do respect everyone's moral compass, whatever it is. We appreciate your thoughts, your opinions, and your contributions. We look for you to engage in our comment section and share. But there's a space where we come to learn and to grow and to glean with one another. We have real talk with real resolutions with real people. Okay, so it's a no judgment zone, but what we do here is respect. Absolute respect, 1000%, from beginning to end. So with that being said, just while we get in the rules, you know how we do. We got to put our disclaimers. I gave our church announcements in the beginning, y'all. Because this is a space of respect and integrity, we do ask that everyone does engage respectfully. You are free to comment, to share, and to engage. Just do so respectfully. Should disrespect be displayed anywhere at any time through comments or conversation, unfortunately, we will have to have our beautiful and amazing moderator, Ine Kenya. She will unfortunately have to silence you and remove you from the room. We want to keep this a safe space, and we want to make sure that we continue in the integrity that we have built up. Why? Because we got 1K subscribers that we responsible for now, y'all. Okay, that is such an amazing blessing. I'm so excited and so happy. I don't even go do it myself. I got to calm myself down because we got a whole show we got to get through today. And listen, it's party time. It is party time. It is party time. And I am excited for this conversation tonight and for those who are going to be joining us. So yes, let me make sure I did all my announcements right. This is not a Christian channel over here on the Bravo Shield Network. Again, we have real talk, real resolutions. You know, on Thursday nights, you never know what you're going to get, but it's going to be good. That much you do know. But should you need some spiritual guidance, a little inspiration, some encouragement, a word, a song, a prayer, any of those things, you go right across the street. Doesn't matter left, right, up, down, north, south, east, west. It's still going to take you to the Sheila Ingram Ministries Network, who is our sister, partner, sister, right across the street. And over there, we have our queen bee, Pastor Sheila. We have my mom, Pastor Rosa, and my auntie gangster, Reverend Jenny. They are over there every Friday at 11 a.m. They are the women of grace, and truly they are. And they are sharing. They're taking a walk through the Bible that is so amazing. And so you can go over there and get a good word. On Tuesday mornings, we usually have Pastor Rosa on at 10 a.m. And just throughout the week, Pastor Sheila is over there doing her thing. She is the kabod. Listen, you got word, you got music, you got prayer, you had just go over there when you need a little pick me up. Just go across the street to Sheila Ingram Ministries Network, and you will be fed with your spirit, your soul, and your mind. All right. So I believe that covers all of our church announcements, so to speak. So we're going to get back over here to the Bravo with Sheila Network side, because I am looking forward to this dynamic conversation we are about to have tonight. So let's see. Yes, with the 1K. All right. I was going to say hallelujah and amen. I'm sorry, not sorry, y'all. Because, again, that's my moral compass. Whatever yours is, you run with that. But mine is God. So hallelujah and glory to your name, Lord. We are grateful. Okay. So tonight we have, my guest, Veranda Bellamy, is in the building. She says congratulations. And her amazing husband, Nicholas Bellamy, the realtor, he is in his congratulations. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. Of course, he's here supporting his missus. That's Team Bellamy. Let's go. That's right. That's how we do it in partnership and in love. That's how we do things here. All right, so we look forward to other people coming in. And for those of you who are up in the silent sections, we know in the expensive seats who may not necessarily want to come on down to the comment section, I just want to tell you, welcome on tonight. We appreciate your presence. We see you seeing us, seeing you. We do, and we appreciate you up there in that space. But please feel free to come on down to the comment section. I promise you, it is safe down here. We have security, so you will be just fine. All right. We want to engage with you. We want to acknowledge you, and we want to appreciate you. So come on, stop by. All right. So on tonight, as it is the month of May, we all know this is the Thursday before Mother's Day. Mother's Day is right around the corner, a few days from now. And so this month we've been talking to the women, and we're going to continue conversations with women. Last week we had womanhood, sisterhood, motherhood. And on tonight, we're going to be having a little bit of a conversation, some open dialogue. And our topic is the making of a mother. Because some people think that motherhood is just for those who had babies, or, everyone has their own different thoughts, feelings, and opinions about it. And that's okay. Everyone is entitled to. But we want to have an open discussion and really break this thing down a little bit, get some more insight into what that dynamic of motherhood looks like. That's right. And then we see you seeing us see you. Yes, we do. Because guess what? Before 2025 is out, okay, our people in the silent section, they're going to come on down. Y'all going to come on down and be a part. Y'all coming down to the barbecue, okay? Y'all coming to the family picnic. We going to, look, we one big family. Y'all can't sit up in the rafters forever. Y'all got to come down and talk to your people. Come converse with us for a little bit, okay? Do we see you seeing us see you? That's what that is. So come on down and join us. Now on tonight, like I said, our topic is the making of a mother. So much goes into motherhood that it's a job that is literally on the job training moment by moment. And I do believe that it changes with every child. Person is different. I only have one. So, but he's about 9 people in one. So I never know who I'm going to get on any given day. So, I have like a whole basketball team with a little extra. I got a whole football squad with a little extra. It's just in one body. Y'all know what I'm saying. But motherhood is something that, you no one can prepare you for it. I don't care what book you read. It can talk you through the birthing process, but it is it's a whole beast of a different kind. So on tonight, to kick off this conversation, I want to bring up the woman who pushed me out, who allowed me to rest in her body for a good 9 months, and then said, "Hey, ma'am, you gotta go. I need my space back, and you need to be out of here." And I am her I call myself 404. I'm the youngest of her 4. And I like to think that when she got me, she didn't need anymore because, just it was just, the best was here. She had done everything. She did it all. I love y'all, big brothers and big sister. I'm saying y'all are amazing. But, I completed her package. And you know her, you love her. She is no stranger. She is co-hosting with me tonight. And I just appreciate her. My mom, who I share with the entire world 99.9% of the time, in the person of Pastor Rosa. Mama Rosa, come on up, mommy. Hi, how are you tonight, Mom?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I was done. I was done.
You was
My
finished.
done was done.
You're done with and for good reasons, right? Don't make sure people think it was for it was good.
No, it just didn't get no better than that.
Oh, all right. See, y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it. I didn't pay her to say that either. She said that of her own will. She did. She said that. Well, I appreciate you being here tonight, Mommy, to share in this great conversation and to lend your wisdom to us. And I am most excited about this young lady. I'm going to pull up here. I've had the pleasure of meeting her and getting to know her. Brother, listen, I'm saying, when you reach that peak of perfection, you just can't get no better. Just nothing else. It's just nothing, And as you see, I'm a lot. So, there was nothing else. Her nerves probably couldn't take anymore. My father's nerves probably couldn't take anymore either, So, but hey, we're here now. I completed their package. But I will say, this young lady I'm going to bring up to the platform. It's her first time with us on tonight on the Bravo with Sheila Network on Thursday night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B. But it will not be her last. I assure you that. She is awesome and amazing in her own right. I've had the pleasure to connect with her and get to know her through platforms that we're on TikTok. And I tell you, I just love the brightness that she brings in her presence. And when she opens her mouth, she adds such richness to every conversation. She probably doesn't know this, but I am like a fan of hers. And before she even comes up, I'm going to tell the truth of the little story, and then I'm going to bring her up. I was a little nervous when I had to ask. I was like, I don't know if I should ask, but it was in my spirit to ask her, just reach out, because you meet people and they are so big in what they do, but so humble in who they are. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm just reaching out and I'm saying, but it was on my heart to pull her in for this conversation. It was in my spirit. And I know that she's the right person to hold down this conversation, to help us walk through this thing, this journey of motherhood, and just gain some understanding as to what it is really about, the making, because moms are made. Whether we want to admit it or not, moms are made. So I'm excited because my sis is in the house. And I call her, as recently we have connected. She's my twin Dawn, although her name is not Dawn, but she's Dawn, because we do the same thing. We function in the same way. We bring some brightness. Okay. We start the day for you. We shift atmospheres. It's what we do. We break through the darkness. And she is in the person of, and you're going to love her when you see her. I'm trying to tell you, you're going to love her. Okay. But she's mine. Don't get carried away, y'all. All right. Well, her husband and her family first, but right after that, I'm on that. Yeah, that's where I am. She is in the person of Veranda Bellamy, aka the Happyology Shop. Come on, sis. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Lady Dawn B. for having me here. Hello, Mama Pastor Rosa.
How are
Good
you?
evening. Good evening. You look amazing.
Oh,
Amazing.
thank you.
Happy
So do
early Mother's
you.
Day to you.
Thank you. And to you too, if that's applicable.
Yes, it is. It is. I have a 5-year-old. We'll talk about her later, but so
Oh,
honored to be here. Thank you for asking me, Lady Dawn. Yeah, the feelings are mutual. I've been a fan since I saw you on TikTok too. So, I mean, hey, there we go.
we here. We here. It's that whole kindred spirit kind of thing. And I just love her energy. I love what she brings. And just the realness. I'm like, that's my homie. Like, that's my girl. Like,
Yes.
we can do it. Don't mess with, because I'm like, what? Don't mess with my sis. Don't do that. It's not safe. Make safe decisions with your life. Not this one. Choose another one. Not this one. So I am glad you are here on tonight. Let me
Yes.
see. We got Landon Price in the building. Welcome in, Landon. How are you doing? What's good on tonight? And y'all do me that good old favor. Hit that like button, that thumbs up. Again, it's still free 99, y'all. The price has not changed just because we did what? Because we hit that 1K. That's right. You're going to hear that like 9,000 times tonight because we are excited about that. Okay. But please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, share the live, invite a friend, come on in and join this conversation. I want to read a little bit of Veranda's bio just so that you understand a little bit of who she is. And listen, well accomplished, just well accomplished, absolutely earned every bit of who she is and what she does. Okay, she's giving the honor to the one. I get it. Yes, he deserves all, but we thank God for her obedience
Yeah.
because he needs a vessel to work through, right? Okay, I'm just saying. But we give him the praise, but we thank you for being obedient because you bring so much. When we align with our purpose and we get in our space, we serve so much better and life is so much more fulfilled. So I'm going to read this and then we're going to jump into this conversation. Veranda Bellamy is a sought after mental health expert, therapist, speaker, and business advisor. See, y'all, I told y'all my sis be doing big things. Okay, don't play with it. All right. She is a state licensed therapist. We got one in the house tonight. Okay. And nationally certified counselor with an extensive background in corporate America. She is the founder of Bridging the Gap of America, Inc., a mental health and addiction facility. She is also the owner of Veranda Bellamy Enterprises and Co., which is the parent to Bridging the Gap of America, Inc. Now, I'm trying to tell you, she has a host of things in her bio, and you're gonna learn her. She has been featured on numerous platforms, magazines, TV shows, like Essence, for Soul TV, TED Talk, speaking. It's so many things here. I can't even listen. She did it all. Okay, so when I tell you we got the top, the elite, the best on with us tonight, we in fact do. And I'm glad that you are here with us. Thank you for doing what it is that you do, sis, because you add such a rich blessing to every space that you are in. So on tonight, as we would say in church, although it's in the church side, we introduce to some and present to others. Leave around the Bellamy Happyology Shop, and let's get into this conversation on tonight.
Yes.
So I usually start out with a question related to our topic, which is the making of a mother. So when you first heard this topic, and I'm gonna start with you, Veranda, what was your first thought?
Wow, that's a great question. So when I first thought of when you first put it out there, it's like the making of a mother. The making of a mother. So I went to Israel back in 2020, right? So we were there right before COVID hit, and one of like all of it was amazing. But one thing that stood out to me was when we went through um, Jerusalem, where the Proverbs 31 woman was staged, and I remember. How we know what the Bible says about the Proverbs 31 woman, but when we saw her in real life, she was there and she was making things. Like she was knitting things together. She was creating like a blanket of sorts for her family. She looked like just a homemaker, a very strong woman. And so when you gave me the title, that's where my mind went to, was to the Proverbs 31 woman. And so I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. So yeah, that was my first thought.
I love that. I really do.
Yeah.
And we have a mixed audience, and so for those who are church and some who are not, the Proverbs 31 women, as we're taught in church, for those of us who are believers, is usually the guide that we are taught to go by, and this is what you want to be and whatnot. And sometimes, and I got to be completely honest, as much as I admire all the things that she is, sometimes I get so agitated. I really do. And then I heard something one day in Clubhouse. A friend of mine was talking in one of his live rooms, and he, just freed so many women. And I just want to, share it. He said, we are walking through trying to be this Proverbs 31 woman. He said, and the problem is we're trying to be all of the Proverbs 31 women when sometimes we're just a verse. I said, well, what did you say, sir? Watch your voice. So, what you
like,
mean?
Freedom.
What?
Yes.
The weight that I felt that was lifted off my shoulder, like we ain't gotta be the cook, the clean, the baker, what is this? And he's like, women, and to hear it from a man, saying, be a verse. Like, find the verse that you are and be that. And then my mom, and I can understand how that connection came for you, having to experience that and then see this woman. And again, thinking of the making of we're not born a mother. This is on the job training as we go along. If you just told me that I would be a mom, I would have told you of what, like what you mean. Like, nobody's doing that.
I ain't signing up for that. No.
I'm the youngest of four. I'm trying to stay free. What y'all talking about?
Listen.
What are we talking about here? Watch your mouth. And then he says, I like that. Be a verse. Yes. And it was so freeing in that, because we're taught, like, it makes you want to feel like you have to be perfect. Yeah. And then if you're not, like, you're not a good wife, and then you're less than a woman. And so we're racing, struggling, trying to be all of these things at the same time and mastering none. It's like, wait a minute. So when he said that, I said, well, let me find my verse and keep it moving. Let me figure out where I land with these 31s of the 31. It was good. It was good. So, Mommy, when you heard the topic, welcome, Mommy. Hi, Mom. You all right up there? She's so cute. I just love her. When you think of the topic, the making of a mother, what comes to your mind?
Well, not the Proverbs 31 woman. Definitely not her, because so many things that are required for us to be, and not being to put a damper on it or anything like that, but this was a woman's definition of what a woman should be, should she marry her son. So, I'd like to kind of find her and, have a talk with her, because
she's gangster. She's gangster.
Yeah. Proverbs 31 woman had no time for herself. She cleaned up the house before the maid came, then went to work, shopped, bought the food for the maid. What was there for the maid to do? We are magnificent. Yes, we are. We are awesome people. We really, really are. When I think about motherhood, I think I go back to my first pregnancy. And so I would have to say, from my perspective, you have to be willing to be that mom, A lot of times we find ourselves with child, not necessarily being in marriage. We find ourselves with child, and then that applies to those, people that are married. You do have to be willing to be that mom. You don't really honestly know what it entails until you actually start going through it. But I was ecstatic when I found out that I was, with child. It's awareness. The awareness comes as you go along.
Yeah.
I think during the time when I was pregnant and first married and everything, it was Dr. Spock. We believed in him. We believed in him. We didn't have Google, but we did have some really wholesome and rich information, that kind of set your mind, to what it meant to be a mother, and it was a beautiful picture that they painted, honestly. Like the Jane, what's her name? Jane Cleaver, Mrs. Cleaver, Cleaver's mother, that type of thing. We all went around trying to be that type of mother, but it's awareness, to me, and just being ready, being ready once you realize you are with that child, you got to get yourself ready, for whatever it is, whatever it involves, because every child is different. I have 4 children, I have 4 different people, so you have to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do. Just 4 different people, and our people have people. Thank you for that, Shara. Welcome in. Mr. Grateful, the Kingdom Builder himself is in the building on tonight. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining, Chief Apostle. Great TikTok, Apostle TikTok. Team Grateful, right? Team Grateful's in the house. That's our leader. That's what we do. That's our leader. That's our TikTok leader. Don't play. We don't play about it. Okay. Team Grateful is tight. It's tight. That's how me and Happyology Shop got connected. So we're grateful for that. Landon Price said, "This is real life right here. More men need to read it too and listen." Yes, it's very true. It's important, and this is why we have these conversations, and it's important. It's not just women guided, but this is a space and time for women to really talk about the truth of being a mother and the weight that we don't speak about. There's a lot of things that we go through when you become a mother, whether by birth, by adoption, or by choice, and sometimes we discount each other. Yeah. Because you think that someone is less of a mom or not a mother because you didn't give birth, and these are your stepkids. They're not really your kids, and you don't know what it really means to go through it. Like, why do we do that? Why do we pick each other apart in that way? And it is an important conversation for men to hear and to be a part of, because it will give insight as to what mothers really go through, what the day is really like, what we internally feel. And for us as women, sometimes we don't speak up on things because we think we are the only one going through it. As a first time mom, there were certain things that I was like, okay. And I mean, I've helped raise my nieces. My nephew, my only nephew, is 2 months younger than my son. So, I didn't get to do that. But, watching them be raised and having a hand in that, it's a whole different kind of thing. And it's hard to be a mother to the children that we have and not lose yourself.
Right.
And it's such a tight space to be in. But a lot of times women, we pit ourselves against each other instead of supporting each other, because just because a woman doesn't push out a baby does not make her a mother, does not make her not be a mother, no more than a woman who pushes out a baby doesn't make her a mother. It just means you had a baby. You know, it just, that's what it means. Because how many women do we know who have children and will leave them for whatever the reason may be, or don't care for them for whatever the reason may be, or, you know, walk away, or just treat them as if they are a project, or, you know, just a task, or whatever it is. You know, by definition, motherhood, they say, is the state of being a mother. And being a mother entails so many different facets. So I want to pause. I want to leave you space. Happyology, you want to share something thus far in what we've been talking about before we get into some questions?
Yeah, no, this is all good. You know, as we're, you know, kind of pulling back the layers of motherhood, I'm also reflecting on, so I was in a business collective back in 2020 as well. A lot was going on back then. And so we had a meeting. This was probably in 2019, but it was before COVID. And we had a meeting, and I ended up in Vegas or wherever we were. And one of the things that was encouraged was to hire a housekeeper, right? And in my mind, right, I'm like, no, I'm married. You know, I've been married to my husband. Now we've been together 17 years, married 15. And then I was like, you know, no, I'm not gonna hire anyone. You know, I feel like it's something that I can handle on my own. I wasn't a mom at that time either, right? So my baby is only 5 years old. So I'm a mother of a nice age, that first time mother. And that's the only one. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to hire, you know, I'm able to take care of my home, you know, and handle all the things. And so as I thought about it, I was like, I wonder what it would be like if I had somebody to come in and clean my house, you know, and help me out with that. And so I ended up hiring someone to start helping, and I've had one since then. And so just thinking about motherhood is like, you know, you think about the word hood in motherhood, it reminds me of community, right? So you've always heard, it's, you know, people say that it takes a village to raise a child, right? It takes a village. You need a community, whether it's a mother, whether it's a sister, whether it's a therapist, whatever it is you need, a pastor to help you be able to raise this productive citizen, because that's what we want, right? We want to raise productive citizens, right? And so that's kind of where my thoughts, you know, kind of started to ruminate towards was, you know, what does it look like in my hood, right? In my motherhood, to make sure that my daughter is getting what she needs. And so that looks like for me is letting go of the whole, you know, facade of doing all the things, right? Because it's impossible to do all of that, right? I'm a working woman. I have a business, right? I'm in partnership, right? And doing things. And so it's more than just me being at home doing nothing or just cleaning the house. I do a lot more than that, right? So I'm very grateful for my husband, who is a great support to me. I'm in my office right now, but he's home with our daughter, right? So he's made sure that she's been taken to dance and all the things, that she's eaten her dinner, you know. And when I get home, I'm probably going to he'll have some chicken, some baked chicken somewhere that I could snack on if I want to eat as well. So it's like, what do you need to really have in your motherhood, in your hood, right? To make sure that your family and you are being sustained in a way that's going to continue to allow you to be able to multiply, not just in the womb, but in the things that you have to do for the Lord. So that's kind of where my thoughts are landing right now.
No, that's good. That's good. And I appreciate that because you bring it into perspective, because like you said, that whole breakdown of mother and hood, like your community, you know, and we would get so much further if we went back to grasping that concept of community. Every woman is not your enemy. You know, we are not in competition with each other. We are each other's complement, you know, and who better to lean on? I know when I had my son, if I didn't have my mother and my sister and my best friend, baby, we would not be sitting here tonight, because I'd have been a whole different beast of a different nature. You know, I really would have. I mean, there were literally times that I came home, I think for the first 6 months, somewhere within the first 6 months of having my son, that I didn't know where he was sometimes, because they would connect with each other. My mother's laughing because they were still my child. They were still my child.
Take your child. Bring my baby home.
He would still watch out. Like he'd be missing. For my sister and I lived on the same property. She lived in the house in the front, and I lived in the house in the back. And she would come in the back, and I'd be like knocked out. She would take him everything that he needed. She would take him and just be gone. I wake up like, "Where's my baby?" Number one, I'm a new mom. Kind of sometimes you forget that you even had a child, because you got to get used to the fact that, oh snap, there's a whole person that's here now. It's like I had him at 33, so for 33 years, like I didn't have you. I didn't know you, Matter of fact, he just turned 23 yesterday.
Oh.
It's an amazing blessing because I didn't think I was going to make it. But one of us wasn't going to make it many a day. He's actually what inspired this topic, honestly, from my heart, because I thought about how I did not feel equipped to be a mom. I didn't know what that was going to look like for me. I'm the youngest of four. I didn't see my mom raise my brothers and sisters. I saw the back end of it, but, and then watching them be mothers in their own way. I was just like, I don't know. I was loving my freedom, and like in my people, like, nope, I only want to have to feed me. I only got to answer for me. I only want to come home for me. I didn't know what that was really going to do for my life. But when I think about him, and my son was not he is so sweet and humble, but he took the hell that I went through with him, literally, like just the stuff. I said, boys, there's something wrong with y'all. This was like, y'all not normal. Like, this is not like there's something is missing, God, but I thought about how from the time I found out I was pregnant with him until now, just how much my life has changed, and I became something that I never thought that I could, which was this mom. Aside from the fact that in real life, they told me I wouldn't have children. Like I battled with cervical cancer for 5 years, had other hormonal issues. They're like, you're just not going to. And so he's a miracle in that sense, God given. So again, I'm something that I was told I would not be. So I didn't, in some senses, have that space to prepare, like my mom was talking about before. Like I didn't have the vision of having, like 6 kids and we're going to do this. I didn't have that, but my village meant so much because I would have to call and be like, so who? You have Jalen? Is Jalen with you? My mother be like, no, Tawana just came and got him. Now, meanwhile, she's had him for like a week. I would get off work like, okay, mommy, what time you be home? No, just go home. He's fine. I'll tell you when. I'm like, where's my baby, y'all? So I'm saying all that to say your community, your hood is so important because honestly, I didn't know that I was going through depression. I didn't realize that I was dealing with some stress and issues. I had no idea. I thought I was fine because I was going through the motions of things, but I was very absent. And they were smart enough and wise enough because they were all moms before me to be able to see that and take care of him so I could take care of myself. And so I love that. I love what you said. I told y'all my sister's dope, y'all. This is Veronda Bellamy, the greatest to ever do it. She is a mental health licensed therapist, clinician, counselor. She is amazing, and she is on here tonight with us talking about the making of a mother. Mommy, what do you have to say up in that corner there, lady?
Well, I love the community aspect, because that really is what it is. When I think about
wait, hold on, Mom. I'm sorry. I gotta pause right quick because there's a fan. There's a fan in the fans for Veronda, and I think she wants.
Gotta do this.
So Nicholas Bellamy, I don't know if you know him, but I think you might know him, but you might not know him. But I think he might be your boyfriend for life. Okay. And he says, "Amen." Yes, she is with the exclamation point. So we got to pause when the husband speaks. We got to. Okay, sir, that's right. The biggest fan. So you got to take a number, y'all. Somebody, you got to wait. because the number one spot is taken. Okay, he ain't playing. I ain't mad at you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I respect it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I had to do that.
You did. You really did. I think I like community. I like the term community. And it's not just a term, but I like the thought of community because you need that support, you know. And when I think before you were born, we lived in a community where we were the first Black family to move in that building. And it was young mothers, you know, young couples, everybody. And I became pregnant with you at the time. All of the young mothers were pregnant. It was a mixed racial mixture, and the non the non-blacks were afraid of the blacks, you know, and so we had that responsibility, or we played the role of educating everyone else that we were just the same as you. You know, look, you know, I'm having a baby just like, you know, you are. And believe it or not, that motherhood, that aspect of all of us being pregnant at the same time unified us. We became a community, we became a culture, you know, they forgot about all the fears and all that stuff that they had about, you know, non-Caucasians or, you know, whatnot. They forgot all about that because we we were all pregnant, we all had children, we all, you know, then they realized we all do the same things, you know, and so that community aspect, motherhood is a very powerful thing because it can, you know, bring, you know, a community people, you know, together. You know, it can bring minds, you know, people's minds together. And so I had the what I did was I broke that yoke, you know, as I was coming down the stairs one day, and my neighbor upstairs, we had gone to walk up, my neighbor was upstairs, and she came downstairs, and I think, you know, I think they were really afraid, you know, to come down the same stairway or whatever, you know. So I said to her, she said something like, "Oh, I went to school with black people." I said, "Yeah, well, I went to school with white people, I went to school with Chinese people, I went to school with, you know, Hispanics, you know." So, and she had to laugh, you know. And so I said to her that you don't know people until you actually get to know them. If you've never talked to a person to find out, you know, what's really going on with them, because we're all the same, we just have different, you know, different colors. We're moms, you know, and so what ended up happening was we actually became a culture, you know. We became a family, and we bridged that whole gap, you know. So I really love the fact that, you know, you said about motherhood being a community.
Yeah, that was great. And we do need that. You know, we suffer alone, we struggle alone so often, unnecessarily, just because we will not extend ourselves. You know, we have to remember, if you see a mother struggling down the block with her kids and her bags and, you know, all these things, and you being a mom, you know, you already know the pressure that she's under and dealing with, because we've all done it, whether it's struggling to get to the car. Do I got to get the kids, you know, okay, are their shoes on? So where's your bag? You know, what's your sweater? And then getting your stuff and just all the things. And we will allow another woman to go down the street and continue to struggle and not stop, you know, to help. And sometimes we do that because sometimes we had no help. But I think that the fact that sometimes if we've had no help should be the very thing that motivates you to help someone else, because it'll be the difference, because you know what it is, you know how that feels. So when you talk about that hood and that community, be somebody's community. That one gesture could change their day. I used to walk down the street to the bus stop with my son, the stroller, the diaper bag, my work bag, just 9,000 things. And every day, and I would get to the bus stop and, can't have the kid in the street. So you got to stay in the stroller till the bus comes. I'd have to wait to try to be the last one on the bus so I could take him out of the stroller, fold the stroller up, make sure I put all the bags back on. And this is every day, the same bus, the same people. And it got to the point where the people on the bus, as well as the people at the bus stop, the minute they saw me coming, they'd be like, I'll take the baby. I got your stroller. When I came to the bus, I would be the first one on the bus. The bus driver would be like, no, dude, I need you to move and let her sit there and the baby and this. And it became a whole community to the point where, people I did not know, but, seeing them every day to the point where they became his family, and that was a blessing to me, because my mind is already spent, and it's only like 7:15, the day hasn't begun. I still got to go to work and deal with people and then come home and do it in reverse. So that point of the hood and the community that you made is so, so important. And I hope someone hears this on tonight, to just let's be each other's community. I don't have to know you, in order to do that. And Nate says, my mom's presence is peace for me. Her sacrificing, carrying me makes me want to honor her daily. You know what, ma'am? You are so right. You are so right. Tell my son all the time, sir, my back still hurts 23 years later. Still hurts from carrying you. He's a big baby. He came out like a football player. But it is a sacrifice, and that's what people don't understand. It is a sacrifice, and it is an honor to carry. But the mother, you being a mother, and that moment of motherhood does not stop just because I'm pregnant. It doesn't stop once the baby is born. Actually, the work begins after that baby is here. This whole other person that you now have to get to know while you're learning yourself in this role. You want to add something, Veranda? I have a question after.
Yeah, no, it's evolving. Like it starts once the baby is here, and then like it just doesn't stop, right? It doesn't stop until you're no more. It continues, right? So I think about my mom, and I was an amazing daughter. I'm the oldest.
Of course.
I'm the oldest of three, right? So she refers to me as my firstborn. And so all the sacrifices that she had to make, and making sure that I had what I needed, my sister, my brother had what they needed, and she had what she needed. But it's like, as moms, we so often put ourselves last, right? It's so easy to lose yourself in the process of, being a mom, becoming a mom, right? Because you're becoming in that. Being a mom makes you look at yourself, right? You have to really almost die to the old person that you were before that little person came. So there's like a birthing that takes place with you as well, that continues, right? I feel like, I'm still learning from my child. She's 5, right? I'm probably going to continue to learn from her as she's learning from me, right? And so it's such a beautiful thing that takes form, with just, and I'm a God's girl too. So y'all are going to hear me talk about
You
Jesus.
can get some
Right?
Jesus when you get us.
No apology. But God has a way of just like doing things, and he like gives life to things, and then he allows what he's given life to give life as well. So it's like this beautiful cycle that takes place, that if you are aware and you are present, and can stop for just a second, that requires you to stop for just a second to really dissect and see what's really going on. It's a beautiful thing that's taking place. And I read somewhere earlier this week, where I don't know where it was, but the gist of what I read was a mother has a child when it's time for her to learn something new. So your child is almost sent to to help you grow, right? And so I have an amazing community I just started called Happy Hour Christian Support Circle. We meet on Sundays, and we're going through the purpose-driven life. And in that book, it talks about, what is your purpose here on earth, right? And I like the author because his whole philosophy is rooted in this is preparation. Like here on earth is preparation for heaven. And I fell in love with him just for that reason alone, before even reading the book. But I fell in love with him because of that, because that's my philosophy as well. I do believe that we are here to learn how to be in heaven. And so it's just a beautiful thing that takes place in the cycle of life and everything that's around you. From, I have a plant right here on my desk that wasn't this big when I first got it, but I water it and now it's producing life as well. And it's giving me life. It's giving me oxygen. So it's literally a cycle that takes place, and giving birth to a child is such a beautiful thing and blessing that allows you to grow as well. So I'll yield.
I love that. Listen, you can talk as much as you want. You are a special guest on tonight. That's right. My sis from Ticker Talker Streets, okay, is here with me tonight. So I'm extra tonight, y'all. My sister Veronda, aka the Happyology Shop, is here in the building. We are talking about the making of a mother, and I promise you, y'all, you're gonna want to link up with my sis because she is all that and then some. Okay, I'm gonna share her with you a little bit, just a little. I'll share her with you just a little bit. Don't get crazy. Welcome into the building, Von Eric. As always, he says blessings all with that 1,000 L's because he wants to make sure that everybody knows that he's blessing you. Okay, so no one is ever left out, but Von Eric is in the building. We appreciate and love him. He comes in his support and he comes up on the panel sometimes and we fight. That's my sparring partner. We have that iron that sharpens iron that gets the edges off of each other. That's how we get in the fight. But we good. He's part of my community. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love what you said and I love what you shared. That children are born when we need to learn something new. I know I'm paraphrasing it, probably messed it up, but
No, that's it.
I never thought of it that way. But when it is time to learn something new, it is definitely because motherhood teaches you this whole journey of being a mom is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And I will often say, like, my son saved my life. Getting pregnant with my son saved my life because really the internal path that I was going down was not pretty. It really wasn't. To the outside, everybody, you can. Everybody thinks things good and fine and well, but internally, and getting pregnant with him caused me, like you said, to really look at myself. I said, I can't do this no more. I gotta stop doing that. So now I got this baby or this person inside my body, they're like, oh man, like this is really real, and now I gotta be fully responsible. Not that I wasn't totally irresponsible. I was like, now I got to be responsible for real. What is this gonna look like? What's gonna do? So it does. It really puts you in a position where you learning something new. I learned how to be still. I have learned patience in a way because my mom will tell you I think it's patience that I did not have. It was either patience or tolerance. I don't have patience, right? Okay. One of them I don't have. But
Patient.
Okay. See, but I know. But I know.
She has a lot of tolerance. But no patience.
But the patience is no. But my son has taught me patience. I said, I'm saved for real, God. I am really saved because I said he was never been in the hospital due to my hands, and I have not been to jail. So I really took one step too far and really got really saved, God, because you have really taught me how to walk this thing out without violence. But it has turned me into someone that I did not know that I could be, a side of me that I never even considered. And two things that you said I want to tie into these two questions. I hope you guys are enjoying this conversation on tonight. Please hit that thumbs up button. We got my sis, like I said, Veranda Bellamy, the Happyology Shop in the house tonight, talking with us about the making of a mother. Because people, this thing called motherhood and being a mom is a journey unlike any other. Okay, we are figuring it out day by day. Sometimes we may look like we have it all together, but we are learning just like you are, every day. I just tell my son, I don't know you today. I just met you. Every day we wake up, I just met you all over. I don't know what version of you I'm gonna get. Because truthfully, I don't know what version of me I'm gonna give you. We're meeting each other again and again, a lifetime of first times. I'm sure because attitudes and temperaments and all of these things, and we're expected to keep it together, which can be very, very difficult. What I wanted to ask you is, because you made a point earlier, but about we were talking about not losing ourselves, and even in becoming who we are as mothers, and this is an ongoing process. So this is kind of a dual question, which I would ask you is, number one, how do we balance this thing called motherhood and life, and how do we avoid getting lost in the role of a mother?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. I don't think, honestly, I'm a say this, but it's truly it's this. So what you guys are getting are Veranda-isms, okay? So I don't think that we ever have balance.
Okay.
So walk with me. So if you are like standing on one leg, right? You have it for just a split, but then you're gonna fall. Right? So I believe in groove. I believe that we have to find a groove. We have to find a rhythm that works for us. Because how Veranda does it may not be how Lady Dawn does it, may not be how Pastor Rosa does it. We are 3 different women with 3 different life experiences, right? And so it's really not, I don't believe it's, and I tell my clients this all the time. They're like, I gotta find a balance. Like, that's like the buzzword. And I'm like, girl, keep at it. Let me know when you find it, because it doesn't exist. Like, I need for you to really focus on finding something and a process that's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I call that finding your groove. So if you 2-stepping with somebody, right, you get a groove going and there's a vibe, right? And you're in it. Like, you're able to find your rhythm that works for you. And the same thing is true for being a mommy. You got to find your groove. Just like with you, you had all the things, the stroller, the pacifier, the bags, right? Everything, right? You walking down the street with this baby, trying to get on a bus, right? Trying to find balance. Let me find my balance. But what you did find was a groove, and that with that groove came a community that would help to support you.
That's so good.
That helped to support you so that you had your 2-step. You were able to kind of move as you needed to, maneuver as you needed to. They started taking the baby for you. Girl, I know you tired. Let me take this baby. Have a seat. Sit down. Let me get the stroller, right?
Right.
And so I don't think that we ever truly have balance like that as human beings. I think that it's really about finding a groove. And as a mother, I urge every mother or potential mother, or even the dads out there, to find a way to fit into the equation so that there is a rhythm that supports this beautiful being that you are responsible for.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I had to write it down. So I had to pause. Say, don't look for balance. Find your groove. Find your groove, y'all. Find your groove. Get your 2-step is what she said. And that's important. It is absolutely, you got to find that pace and that rhythm. I absolutely love that. Go ahead, Mom. I'm gonna go to you, and then I'll make my comment. What do you feel about this space of? I mean, you have 4 kids, who are absolutely different. And again, how do we balance this thing called motherhood and life? Because we had lives before we became moms, you know, and how do we avoid from getting lost in that?
Well, in all honesty, um, I have always had a boundary. I gave 85% to my family, and I needed the 15% for myself. Because I knew that um, we all have a limit. We have to recognize we have limits, and this is why we have schedules and things like this. And I knew at a certain time that I love this child, but at a certain time you need to go to bed, and I need to have some time for myself, and that's where 15% came in.
Amen.
And so, in order for this child to wake up tomorrow and be okay, you need to go to bed. I need you to go to bed. And so that's how 6 o'clock we ate. 6 o'clock or 6:30, dinner was on the table. It wasn't McDonald's. It was, handmade, homemade. And I did all of that stuff. Doing those books tell you, I was the Cleaver mom.
Yep.
Your hair got combed 2-3 times a day. Your clothes were changed 2-3 times a day. That's
Lord
just the
Jesus.
type of
Yeah.
mother, person
To this day.
that I was. Yeah. But I had my boundaries, and I knew that it healthy, for any of us. I just need 5 minutes, so I need you to go away, and pretend as though you're sleeping. So, like you said, the boundaries are very important. We're not super mom. We are super mom when we have a schedule that says you need to go to bed, and I need to sit here and
Either way she's saying
and
it.
read
Yeah.
Night,
and I
night.
need to, yeah.
Now, right?
Leave the light on. I'll come and turn it off later if you're scared, whatever. You just need to go in
She
that
would do
room
that too.
and close the door. That's it. And I didn't lose myself. Didn't. I delayed myself. I sacrificed myself. I waited, because these children did not ask to come here. They deserve the best of what what you can give them. We weren't rich, so the sacrifice for them to eat meant that I ate less so that they each could have, and that you do. Um, um, so I didn't lose myself. I mean, I I still make I still make a pot of food for six, you know.
And
I
she lived by
still,
herself.
and Dawn is the youngest, and I still, you know, it changes you. Motherhood absolutely changes you. It makes you the best you. It brings out in you a strength, wisdom, especially a strength that you didn't even know that you had, you know. And when you, as I looked at my children and I saw each one of them were different. There is no one-stop shop. There are no one set of instructions. With each child is different. You just know you got to have patience. You got to do laundry. You got to do hair. You got to do homework. You know, it's just that you have to work out the system for that child. Because everybody's not going to sit around the table, and do homework all at one time, and so it's a lifetime of teaching and learning. It really is teaching and learning. You learn something different about yourself every day. And I'm still learning about my kids, and they are parents and grandparents themselves, except for Dawn, she's not, she's a parent, so you're still learning things about
I'm
your
not
children.
ready for the part 2.
But you're still learning. It is. I remember your father asked one time, when are you never a parent? And I was like, what an idiotic question to ask. Because once you become a parent, once you become a parent, I said that you're always a parent. Even if your child should demise, should pass away, you've still been a parent. What you don't want is responsibility. That's really, but I think we were created, not that men were not created to have children, they were, but this was God's desire for a family. And we were the ones that was chosen to, to produce, I mean, and it is one of the most rewarding things, honestly. I just moved back with my oldest daughter. Set of circumstances that happened, but I realized at this point I want to be around my family. I need to be around my family, and so I mean it's just innate as far as I am concerned, being a mom. I always knew I was going to be a mother. I used to visualize myself at the sink washing the dishes and 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 I don't even remember how old I was, but I had that vision. I was in my house and I was washing the dishes, and we grew up, as little girls. We grew up, our dream was we were going to get married and have children, and we had the little hope chest that we put certain things in, and
Right.
collected, but I don't think you lose yourself. I didn't lose myself. I just postponed me for a minute, put them before myself.
No, and that's a good perspective and a good way to look at it. And I think that helps you not become bitter or not feel like you've lost anything, because a lot of times when we realize after this child is here, or even in pregnancy, the things that we can't do anymore, or for this time, and it may not be for life, but that season of feeling like, but now I can't do me, and now I can't do this, but to understand that it's not forever, it's for a time and it's for a season, it helps you not become bitter. I don't know about you ladies, but I know some women who have had children and, become very angry and frustrated because of the pressure and the weight of being a mom and now being responsible and I don't want this kid. And these are things that we don't really want to talk about, but they are the reality of it's someone's reality. Not everyone is happy and trying to be, was it June Cleaver or, Mrs. Huxtable, everybody is not like some of us really get into this space of motherhood and really become very depressed, very defeated, very drained, and we lose ourselves in so many ways and feels like it's depleting. So, I appreciate that perspective that you gave, Mom, and you talked about boundaries, which speaks to knowing your capacity. You have to know your capacity. I didn't know mine as a mom, and I was burning myself out and becoming so frustrated, because I wasn't having any time for me. Everything was centered around my son. Everything was, because I felt like I had to compensate for some missing pieces. And I felt like if I didn't do these things, I was a bad mother. I didn't spoil my son to some degree, but my son is spoiled to some degree because he's the only child I have. So it's like, okay, well, it becomes that battle, and learning, like you said, learning this role, this person. I have to figure out how you operate, and how you operate meshes with me and how I operate and how we change. When it comes to, I want to welcome some people in the room first. I'm sorry, before I go further. Welcome in Shannon Brooks. Thank you for joining us tonight. So glad to see you and glad you could make it. And welcome in, Lisa. Keep me posted. Thank you for showing up. As we appreciate you being in the building on tonight. We are talking about the making of a mother, and I have my good sister friend, my twin Dawn, although her name is not Dawn, but she is Dawn. Okay, she is Veranda Bellamy, aka the Happyology Shop, and we are having a great discussion so far. I would just say for me, I think when it comes to the point of balance, what I've learned is that there's a difference. And I agree with you, Happyology. Like, what is balance? It's so subjective, and it's so like, is it even possible to really have balance? What I have learned from my own mindset is there's a difference between balance and equal. You know, a lot of times what we're expecting to be, what we think is balanced, we're really looking at is equal. Am I giving equal time to all of these things? And I use this analogy sometimes. I'm like, balance does not mean equal. You know, 60% here on that scale. You know, when you have the pendulums, you put 60% on this side, you got to put 40 on this side. That balances it out. It gives you that 100. But you have to figure out, like we were saying before, you know, how much of this do I give? Like my mom said, 85 goes here, 15 is for me. You got to find that balance. Like you said, you got to find your groove. You have to find what works for you. And when you find that system, stick to it. We have to take some of the pressure off of ourselves of this expectation to be perfect and to get it all right the first time. So what if you wash the kids' clothes in the wrong detergent? Guess what? It's not the end of the world. You can rewash them with the right. So what if, you know, dinner didn't come out the way you wanted it to? Okay, you can always find, you know, make it alternate, do something, you know, find something else. But we have to kind of take this pressure off of ourselves. I think when we become moms, that I have to be perfect, I have to get everything right, and like I'm supposed to know this. You've never been a mother before. I think giving that grace of learning this space is so important. And even having more than one child, I mean, I only have one, but like I told you, he's like 9 people in one. I love all 9 of them, though, just not at the same time. He's a handful. I promise you he is, but we love him. We love him. But each child is different, and you have to learn. And we're all think about how many changes we go through as a person, just us, relearning ourselves. I will be 56 at the end of this year. I'm learning myself at this age, and this stage, like this is a whole brand new world. What I thought I wanted, what I thought I needed, right about now, I don't. The mom that I was at 33 is way different than the mom that I am now, you know. And when I'm looking at that making, again, the things I had to go through, those trials and those tests. It wasn't the easy things that made me, honestly. It was the struggles, it was the trials, it was the failures, you know, it was the errors, it was the big mistakes. That's what made me, because that's where I really, really learned. I'm going to read this comment, and then I'm going to let Happyology jump on in here. Keep me posted. Lisa says, remembering that you are more than someone's everything. You are still the woman with dreams, questions. You were a whole person before they ever said mama, and that wholeness matters still. Exactly. I think a lot of us lose sight, and I will say this for single moms. Like, I've been married and divorced, and I was a single mom. One thing that kept me from not losing myself to a full extent was number one, I realized one day this baby is going to grow up and they're going to leave.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm going to be stuck with what? You know, like what's going to, then where am I? You know, but remembering that I was a whole person, that I am still a person. I tried to stay in tune with some of the things that brought me joy, that identified Dawn from being mom. You know, and I would tell my son, like, you know, mommy, as he's growing up, because your kids start to test you. Well, Happyology, you'll find out even more. You notice, like, yeah, there's spaces. And there were points where I was like, okay, I'm about to introduce you to Dawn. Dawn is not like Because you're not pulling mom energy out of me right now. What you're doing is you bring it out doing, like we gonna go out in the street, we gonna fight it out. Boys are different, y'all. I'm just saying. But it's true. You have to remember that you were a whole person before them. And you have to stay connected. I don't do all the things that I was doing, at 33. I'm not interested in doing them anymore. But there's some core things that make me that is still important. Come on, Happy.
Yeah, that's so good. You are a whole person, right? And it's really important to be able to, I don't know why depression is like coming to mind right now. That when you become a mom, when you are momming, it's so easy to have mental illness, right? Because you're dealing with, the complexities of life on so many ends. Like you got home, you got work, you got siblings, you got mama, you got daddy, you got husband, right? And then there's you, right? And so trying to figure out how to maneuver, how to find your groove and all of that can really cause like chemical imbalances, right? You start finding that you're isolating, from people. You may have these negative thoughts that are consuming you. You start to feel like I can't do this, right? Like I can't handle all of these bags. Like I'm just envisioning like the bag lady. I can't handle all of these bags, right? You start having these thoughts like you really can't continue. And so it's so important to remember that you are a whole person. You are good enough. And as you are growing, you're growing. And that child is watching you. That child is seeing every little thing that you do. And they will copy what you're doing, good, bad, or indifferent. Okay. And they're little manipulators too. My little 5-year-old is a manipulator. We were driving in a car yesterday, getting ready to go get something to eat. And I was like, Armani, let me hear you count to 100. And she had already been whining. She's like, Mommy, I don't wanna. Mommy, I'll count to 3. Because she knew that it was quicker to get to 3 than it is to get to 100. We had a whole real conversation. I was like, let me introduce you to Veranda. I had that same moment that Dawn had. Let me introduce you to Veranda, because what you're doing this is unacceptable behavior. You're trying to manipulate the situation, and that's not nice. You don't do things like that. And so they're watching what you're doing, and you really do have to be able to navigate life and show up for them and yourself in a way that's going to produce positive change for them, for yourself. So it's so important to be in tune with yourself, to remind yourself that you are whole, that you are good enough, that God created you. And as difficult and as hard as life might be right now, you're going to get through this phase that you're in, right? And as soon as you get through this, when you're starting a new one, right, then it's going to be another evolution that's going to happen, another thing that you're going to learn, right? And it just continues going from there. But if you are having those thoughts of, cycling to negative thinking, cycling to being anxious around other people, cycling to flashbacks of maybe things that's happened. For some mothers, they deal with the trauma of their childhood, and it comes out with their child, right? So if for a person that's been sexually abused, they may have a hard time trusting anyone to watch their child, which can really be a damper on their community, that hood that you have to build, right? So that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not going to go into all of that, but I feel like somebody here needed to hear that. As you are navigating as a mom, don't forget that you are a whole person. And if you are having those thoughts, then it's okay for you to reach out to help and say to somebody, look, I might need to talk to you, or I might need to talk to somebody. Can you watch my child for me for the night, to get a break, because it's real. Like, it's real out here. You're navigating so many different things on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of where my thoughts are landing right now, on the heels of everything that's been shared.
No, that's good. And thank you for that. And again, guys, she's doing what she does. Okay. She is licensed, certified, all of that in the mental health field. And so she's doing what she does. And it's a great point because some of us in motherhood, like I said, when I was at a place where I was depressed, I did not even know what depression looked like for me in motherhood. I had no idea that I was depressed because it didn't look like what I knew it to be before. Because it's a whole nother level. Again, I'm learning this new space of being a mom. I don't know anything about it. You know, it's hard for anybody to guide me through it. But again, you know, my family, a community, my hood was able to recognize that there was something happening with me, even if they couldn't pinpoint it, and they needed to just be my pillars and be my strength. And let's just take the baby for her so that she can try to center herself back. You know, so definitely, guys. And before we end, definitely gonna have Veranda share her information where you can reach her if you do need to reach out, if you do need help, if you do need that type of support, so that you can get what you need. Moms, we are being made. We were not born. It is a role we have picked up throughout the span of time. There's no guarantee. You know, I really believe that moms are not just women who birth a child. You know, what makes you a mother is the caring, not just the birthing, but the care. And sometimes, and I will say my son's bonus mom, his dad and I were married. They just got remarried. We went to their wedding. It was amazing. Like all of us, we have our own community. We are like besties, you know, all three of us. We do family things together. I know it sounds crazy, and I'm going to have them on the show one day to talk about what a real blended family looks like with no bitterness, you know, because it's important. You got to know, like, these are normal things that we have to create as norms, you know, and change the narrative. And he calls her mom just like he calls me mom. And she and I, we hang out, we do stuff, we do girl things, you know, and, you know, we're good. And I respect and appreciate her because she cares for my son in the same way that I would. She takes in, she has her own son, he's 28, and he's my bonus son, you know, and we all go to the son, mom, you know, but this is a space that we learn and that we grow in. And you have to give yourself that grace to learn in that and know and start to figure out again, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Like I said, I didn't know I was depressed. I didn't know, you know, I thought everything was fine because I was just doing everything that I normally do. He was eating, he's fine, he's happy, you know, rent's getting paid, job is doing this thing. But there was parts of me that were missing, you know, that I was losing in becoming this mother. And Dawn was just kind of getting pushed to the back and eventually was shrinking and really dormant. My mother and my sister used to get mad at me because every time we went shopping, you know, I would buy stuff for my son. And this was a form of kind of, I want to say maybe guilt and depression I was dealing with. Didn't really realize it. I would put stuff in the cart for him, make sure he had everything. And I would pick up like one or two things for myself. And before we get, and they'd be so proud, like, good, she's doing something for herself, because we could shop, okay? Before I had children, you know, we would go shopping. I get my nails done 2 or 3 times a week. Oh, I'm wearing pink tomorrow. I got to go to nail salon. I got to let them change my polish. All of these things that were me that I stopped doing because I became a mom. But before we get up to the register, they're happy because the stuff is in the cart. And if it made it to the register, they'd be just as happy, like, okay, she's really going to buy it this time. And I would get to the register, and every single time I would put it back. I would put back what I got for me. I stopped doing for me because I felt like if I do this for my son, what if he needs something and I can't give it?
Yeah.
Like if something happens and it's that guilt. I didn't even know where it came from, but trying to prepare ahead of time and just saying, but you can't stop self-care of you, you know, in the midst of this. And part of being made as a mom is your self-care is a priority and it's important, you know? So like you said, reach out to someone, get something, you know? We have a comment. Lisa said, it's pouring love like it's infinite. While quietly wondering if there's anything left in your own cup. Yeah, I didn't have anything in my cup. My cup, you know how if you have oil in the bottom of a cup, there's no more oil, but it's still lubricated. There's still, the residue of it. That's what I was running on. I was running on the last bit of residue that was in the cup. If anybody washed that cup, I would have been out of luck, period. Landon Price says, yep, being the baby of four, everything y'all saying is true, especially since she was able to explain to each phase of life was totally different. Every household helped all moms. Yeah, and we have to get back to that. We have to get back to helping each other, because in reality, we are all we have. We are really all that we have.
Yeah, if I can impart into this as well. It feels really big to also talk about like trauma responses, right? And legacy burdens, like high level. I'm not going to go really deep into it, but some of those things that we've, in therapy world, we call it legacy burdens. Those are behaviors and norms that's been passed down from previous generations, culturally, right? That you didn't ask for, is just like an heirloom. It's just glided into who you are. So some of how we show up, as moms is a result of what our mothers did, or what their mothers did, or back 3, 4, 5, all the way back, generations of how we, respond. And then sometimes, it's a trauma response where maybe we didn't have a lot growing up. You know what I mean? That's so common for for most people, right? There wasn't a lot there. And so we function sometimes in a place of lack. And with that, we feel like we can't really, in a lot of ways, take care of ourselves and everyone else, right? Within our home. And so then as a result of that, we come last. So it's really what it comes down to is recognizing those patterns and those behaviors, and being able to say, wow, my mom did that. This is something that my family has done. Culturally, this is what we do. And then you have a decision to make. It's like, well, does that really fit with who I am as a person, right? Mm-hmm. Is that something that I really can ascribe to? Is that something that, makes sense to me and my family, right? And it's not from the place of dishonoring. It's not from that place. It's from a place of evolution. Like, wow, my great-great-grandmother was on the field, all day, and then she had to come in and cook and do all the things and take care of her husband and all the kids. And, does that really serve me today in 2025, having to do the Proverbs 31 whole dance, right? And so it's finding what does fit you and releasing respectfully, great-great-grandma, I understand that's what it took for you guys back then. And I honor that life and legacy that you created, right? But being the strong woman, I don't know if I can carry that in 2025. I don't know if I'm supposed to, you know what I mean? Carry that today. And so I just wanted to speak that into this space as well, so being fully aware. And sometimes that awareness it can make you sick, or the lack of awareness can make you sick. And that'll lead you to a place of burnout, or that'll lead you to medical diagnosis, that'll lead you to being hospitalized, that'll lead you to constantly putting yourself last, right? And if you are last and you're not really taking care of yourself, you're unable to show up like that, then how good are you really to your child, and then it also feels really important to give honor to our moms that raised us, and the sacrifices that they did make to make sure that we were good, and in their becoming, because they had to become too. Your mommy had to become, my mommy had to become, right? Just like we are becoming, right? And then their mothers had to become. So just being, I don't know if my mom is on or not, but I stand in a different mindset and appreciation at the same time for how she raised us, how I never felt like we didn't have anything. I felt like we were doing really well in life. I didn't know any different, you know what I mean? So to be able to do that really is the epitome of a woman, right? We can move like that. I interviewed Dr. Maya Angelou, and I'll close here. And she said, I was one of her last interviews. And one of the things she said during the interview was, yeah, a woman can do anything. We can cook some beans. We can entertain on a Friday night. We can change it. Like she literally said, there's nothing a woman can't do. There's nothing that we can't do as a woman. There's nothing that your mom can't do as a woman. But it's really getting to a place of deciding what is it that I really want to do. So, yeah.
I love that. And that is good. And that is something that someone needs to hear. I think that we need to, you are helping to free us. Free us and some women of these spaces that we're in, because I was once in that space myself, probably self-inflicted, but, Landon is took off running, probably self-inflicted, but I was in that space myself. And I had a great example before me, as y'all see my mom, and I honor her. Hey, Mika, welcome in on tonight. That's my good sis is in the building tonight. We are talking about the making of a mother. We have to learn. Oh, she's giving roses. I'm sorry, Landon was giving roses. I apologize. I was like, I couldn't see, my glaucoma start acting up. But we do have to make those choices. Say, oh, maybe it was me. I was speaking from my spirit. My spirit took off running. I'm sorry, Landon. I'm not gonna put my praise off on you. Landon was giving roses, flowers. Give me your flowers while you can smell them. Okay, I was the one running. I was running off with a praise because I can put myself in that space. So you have freed a lot of people and women who will hear this to know, like, it's okay to choose what from your teaching works for you now. We don't have to continue to repeat history. History's already been made, and we have to now start making our own history. It can't be changed, but we can definitely add to it. So I want to thank you so much, sis Veranda, for being on here with us tonight and engaging. That's it, right? Listen, it's me and you from here on out. They in trouble. Okay. I so appreciate you coming. I'm looking forward to you coming back. We're gonna have to have you on next month because this is good. You just can't. I don't know about you, but I just can't get enough of her. I just wanted to keep teaching and talking, But respect. I want her to be able to get home and get her chicken, before it's too late, and hug up on her family and whatnot. I want her to be able to say it's okay for her to come back, respectfully. I'm trying to kidnap her. I appreciate you lending her to us for a little while and sharing the gift that she is. Veranda Bellamy, y'all. My sis, Happyology, shop in this great conversation of the making of a mother. So much has been said and shared. We have talked about, what motherhood is. We talked about the point of, it's not just birthing the child, but the giving of care. We shared some of our experiences. We talked about the importance of balance, which is not really a thing. And how do we avoid from getting lost? I love my nuggets. I wrote them down. Veranda said, don't look for balance. Find your groove, y'all. Find your groove. And Mommy talked about boundaries, knowing your capacity and sticking with it. And we talked about the differences of this role of motherhood between being a mom and being who we are, so that we don't get lost, that there are still pieces of you that you need to hold on to. This is the perfect spot and perfect time for us to have this conversation. And we hope that as you go for the rest of the days, until Mother's Day, that between now and then you will think about not just your position as a mother, but the mothers that you have had in your lives, and that you will consider honoring them. It's not always in such a tangible, take me out to dinner. Sometimes that 10-minute conversation where you just sit with them and tell them thank you and all the reasons why you're thanking them. Let them know that their sacrifice was not in vain, that their teachings are valuable, and that their lives are worth a whole lot more because we're a part of their legacy carrying on. Mothers, listen, pat yourselves on the back, give yourselves grace. And like Happyology said, we are all becoming. So let's help each other in this thing of becoming mothers as we are in the making. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Before we close, I want to give my mama, Pastor Rose, space to have her final comments. And then right behind her, I want my sis to come and have her final comments. Tell the people how they can find you, where they can find you. If you don't know how to find her, you know how to find me. I will get you to her. But I want her to be able to come and share and know that I love you so, so much. And I'm looking forward to having you back. Like, I would kidnap you every Thursday if I could, but I'm going to behave. I'm going to pace myself. So come on, Mom, share, and then come on, Veranda.
Wow, so much that you said that is so enlightening, and brought to mind my own um, words and ideals that I had kind of put aside. And one of the things that I would say, in thinking about culturalism, we do things out of habit and whatnot. And it's wonderful to learn that there is a formula, for life. It's wonderful to know that there is a formula for life. I love what she said, that, what worked for my grandmother, I love my grandparents. But as we evolve, we understand that that formula, every step, every ingredient, in making that cake, right, does not necessarily apply to this time. You realize the formula is there. You realize what they did for us was really enrichment for us to make our own. So we have to learn. Now I saw what they did. Now I have the ability. What do I do with my ability? So it everything that worked in my mom's marriage and in my grandmother's marriage is not necessarily going to work in mine. Everything that they did in being a mom is not going to work for me being a mom. We get the formula. We don't have to apply the steps, because your child may not be, you may not be functioning together. You might be doing one thing and the child is doing something else. So you have to listen and observe, get to know your child and be familiar. And most of all, educate ourselves. It doesn't stop there. We don't stop being who we are because we're a wife or a mother. We don't stop growing. We continue to grow, and to be ourselves, because our children are looking at us, and they're looking for us to mirror, So we're just enlightening them to be who they really were born, to be. So we don't have to follow every little step. We know the formula's there, and we give God thanks for that formula being there. But then we embellish on it for our own selves.
I love that. I love that. Come on, Veranda, take us home, sis.
Man, I'm sitting here like I'm full. I'm fighting back tears. I'm thinking about my own mom and the becoming that comes with that, right? The becoming that she had to go through, and and all of that. And so maybe your mom isn't here anymore. Maybe you need to fix it with mom. But there's such a wisdom that comes from motherhood, from moms, that we should not take for granted. You know, we can, and we oftentimes have, but not anymore, right? And so find a way to find your mom and where she's at in her growth, because she's still growing. And I'm thinking about, like, you know, to this day, like, I thought I had arrived. I thought, you know, I no longer needed my mama, right? Of a particular age. I'm a certain age, but I still need my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I still need my mommy, right? You will always need your mother. And when she's no longer, you're still going to crave your mama because she's in you. You know what I mean? So if I had to share anything, that would be my closing, is that it's so important that we find a way to coexist in this world with others, with everyone, as much as we can, right? And where you need to put boundaries, like Pastor Rosa said, put your boundaries up, but do so in love, right? Do so in love. And that is one of the secret sauces to being happy, is knowing how to find your groove, right, in life. And so as a mama, I'm going to challenge you to fix it with mama, to find your groove, to hire you a therapist or a coach if you need to, and to know that you are enough, that you got this. And so those are my closing thoughts for everyone tonight. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for having me, for being here with everyone. I hope that I've shared something to shake you up just a little bit, right? And so, yeah, if you guys want to connect with me, I'm everywhere at Veranda Bellamy. I'm licensed in North and South Carolina as a therapist, and I do coaching all over the globe. And so if you want to connect with me, we also have a community, a Christian community that I just started a couple of weeks ago. So it's brand new, but we have so much fun together on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to learn more about that, just go over to my website, verandabellamy.com. We had said it was only for existing people, but I think that is something that God is going to use for whoever wants to join. So I invite you to come and just sit at the table with us. You can sit with us and just learn how to live a life of happiness. So thank you for having me. It's such a privilege, such an honor. I think you are amazing. Amazing. Yes. So thank you for allowing me to share in your space tonight, in your community.
Listen, I would have it no absolute other way. I am grateful for the amazing connection. And again, we are God's girls, so y'all already know we do not apologize. Yeah. We have real conversation, real resolutions, real talk, real people. And this is definitely a divine connection. I just had an instant love for you. Again, every time she speaks, it's just so rich. I grab something that is personal for me, no matter what platform we are on. I thank you for bringing such joy and brightness, honestly, to every space that we are ever in and share. It is just a precious moment, and I'm honored and I'm humbled. I'm appreciative for the God connection and for the sisterhood, because this is just the beginning, and you will definitely, any space I'm in, like that's my sis, move out the way, y'all. She always got a seat. You always have a seat on Thursday night. I promise you, come in anytime you want. I look forward to having you back with us. Maybe I might have to see if you're going to become, maybe you want to be part of the regular ladies' night panel. We tell, always just spotlight. I'm scooping you up. I'm grabbing you up. I know, Mr. Bellamy, I'm just saying. I just want to borrow her for a little while. Just her amazing husband, amen. And we thank you so much. I cannot honor her without honoring you, my brother, for sharing your wife with us on tonight. Appreciate it. And we really have to understand mothers are so important, but fathers are so important as well. It is a teamwork, and she's able to do, as she said earlier, moments like these because he's doing what he does. So we definitely, I believe in giving absolute honor and credit where credit is due. Thank you for allowing her to be every bit of amazing that she is, and that she is still yet becoming. It only gets brighter. Guess what? She's adding shine onto the Bellamy name, sir. So I know you know that better than anybody else. Thank you for letting her shine. Thank you for letting her shine. I love you, sis, for real. I can't wait to have you back. And mommy, let me tell you, this is my mom, y'all, for real. See, now I got to pause because I tell you, I don't play with it. I'm team marriage, okay? I'm divorced, but I am team marriage. There's nothing wrong with marriage. There was something wrong with us. Marriage is fine. Okay, I'm being honest. Marriage is a beautiful institution. It was just us that was the problem. Okay. He said, amen. Brother said, amen. He said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. He says, she is the shine. Come on. Listen, watch your voice, bro. You keep it up. I'm going to have to send an invitation for you to come join us next week for the men's lounge. Come on and talk about it. We talk next week. The men will be on. It's the men's panel, and they're talking about the value of a woman in a man's world. That is the topic for next week. And he talking about, she's the shine, you the muscle. I'm just saying. Come teach somebody. Come on, release it. Teach the people. This is how you do it. And they says this is so cute. She loves it. I love. See, look, we got nuggets everywhere. I don't even care no more what my closing comment was. It don't matter. I'm just happy right now. Love it. I love Team Bellamy. Team Bellamy is the greatest thing in the world. But I wanted to just say, mommy, I love you and I appreciate you for being the best mother that you possibly knew how to be. And I want to say this publicly and share. My mom grew up without a mother. And the model of a mom that she became somewhat, I would say, was built out of the things that she wished her mother was here to do with her. The things that she didn't allow, the lack of having a mother, to cause her to be bitter and distant. It actually makes her very warm, very welcoming, very loving, very nurturing. There is no place that we go that I don't come back with a brother or a sister. Like literally, we go on every time I take her somewhere, I have ministry assignments, and she comes with me, because she's my bodyguard. And every time we're coming back, before it's over, it's like, this is your new sister, and this is your new brother, and it's somebody everywhere we go. So for a woman who grew up without that hands-on teaching of a mother, her mother, I thank God for her being willing to open up her heart to be all the things to me and my brothers and sisters that she did not have in the physical being of a mom. So mommy, I love you. I honor you. I cherish you. I would do anything for you as well. My brothers and my sisters, we could not have asked for a more amazing mom. And thank you for your generosity, for your example down through the years. We are only the parents that we are to our children because of the mom that you are and the dad that we had. So thank you, and we honor you today. Ladies, Auntie Bravo, you are the absolute truth and the reason Queen B of the Bravo with Sheila Network. Salute to you. Happy Mother's Day. I love you. Thank you for taking me on. I call her my auntie. I'm her niecey. And listen, I am a whole project, but she takes me on.
Yes.
This cute face fool you. I'm a bit much. God has to give a whole lot of. Mom has a lot of help raising me, even at this ripe age. It'll get ready to be 56. I still need a lot a lot of adult supervision. Okay. So just wanted to say happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers, everyone, all of the ladies. Happy Mother's Day, because whether you have pushed out a child or not, your presence has affected some child's well-being.
Mhm.
And thank you for the deposits that you make. Men, don't get in your feelings, because your day is coming. We got you. Don't worry about it. It's coming up. So thank you, Happyology. Thank you, Mommy, for being a part of this conversation on tonight. I also want to invite you all, like I said, next Thursday at 7 p.m. Come right back here to this space. We are going to have the Men's Lounge on, talking about, as I just said, the value of a woman in a man's world. The men are going to come on and talk about how important it is. Okay, so we appreciate that. We're looking forward to them coming and being a part. Also, join us on Monday night at 7 p.m. for Mondays Beyond the Mic. We are going to celebrate our 1K subscriber, hitting that milestone. We are going to have a celebration. We're going to come celebrate with us. Just come on and celebrate with us. Be a part of this amazing journey. Okay, thank you all for coming in tonight. We appreciate you. We love you. You know what to do. Go be great. Have an amazing Mother's Day weekend. Do something unforgettable. Create a memory and come back and join us again. Good night, everyone.
You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informant, that information for me. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the quick rock, skipping the course.